Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Polkadot live stream. Today, we have the winners from the recent Webzero Web3 Summit Hackathon. So the team over at Webzero put on a chain-agnostic hackathon last month in Berlin. And I think you guys got over 170 developers to attend. Is that right, Sasha?
Yeah, I can add a little bit on this. Yeah, we hosted the hackathon alongside the Web3 Summit. So the Web3 Summit was the conference that was put together by the Web3 Foundation. It was spanning through August 19 to 21, and in parallel to that, the main conference, Webzero, hosted the hackathon. So there was about 170. I think there was 170 hackers. We got 28 submissions, and the whole hackathon was about identifying projects like what we're going to talk about today. So I'm very excited to be here today and share about it. Yeah.
Amazing. And so for those that aren't familiar with how hackathons work, can you maybe just first tell us, like, what is the structure? How is it organized? How did people sign up? What are the objectives? Maybe just give us a bit about how they work.
Well, hackathons in general, I think, are a super powerful way to onboard to technologies or new tech, learn new things, and in a lot of cases, people are attending hackathons to maybe try out an idea that they've been wanting to build for a while, and use that space to see how far they can get. In this hackathon specifically, it was 3 days, so 72 hours, really actually less than 72 hours because the submissions were due on the Wednesday at 1 p.m. But it's not a place where you're going to have a full-fledged product, but it's at least a place where you can iterate and get to a proof of concept or an MVP that could be a viable product to launch. Now, what Webzero really was pushing for, and the whole design of the hackathon was geared towards shipping and facilitating the development, or at least like what's the word I'm trying to look for, is we want to identify and ship products that can be used as common good products, right, for Web3. And it was chain agnostic, so that meant that we cast the net pretty wide. Today we actually have a team with us that's primarily built their thing for the EVM. We also have our team Delegate, which has built something that's very niche for the Polkadot ecosystem. But in both cases, they hit the nail on the head on being very prospective, like useful common good products for all of Web3.
That's amazing. And so you always see these stories like people sleeping at the hackathons and they're there for 72 hours straight. Is that true? Or is that sort of just kind of like a urban legend?
So I think the cool thing about this chat right now in this spaces is a lot of the people here. I'm looking around. We've got Joshua, got Alberto, Thibaut, and Nikos. I think they've all had their different experiences at hackathons, and I know for a fact that Thibaut has been to a lot of hackathons. So maybe Thibaut, you want to take this one?
Okay, yeah, sure. Like, I don't know actually if people slept, right? Didn't have any hotel for this specific hackathon, but I know for a fact that they prepared this so well. They even had tents, literally, with mattresses and some, what was it, like some kits, with toothbrush and all the things for people to actually do this if they want it. So it's really like grassroots stuff, which I think is amazing. I've attended many hackathons, that's true. I've hacked at some of them. I've been, helping or doing things non-hacker related to many others, such as East Berlin, etc. And I've seen very often, indeed, people just coming to the hackathon, like people just super new to the space who want to learn, who want to try. Generally, those are also a bit younger, I would say, in the sense that if they're younger, probably, they just want to go all in. And if they know that they will have a nice space where they can hack and eventually sleep and eat and everything is there, then they would obviously not rent some room or Airbnb or hotel, and they would just spend all the time there. So I can't tell whether or not it's been done. And it wasn't my case in this case, in that this time. But, I know it's been happening, and I think that's pretty cool.
And to add to that, I mean, just like as everyone's like, I put the spotlight on Thibaut because in the sense that like what we tried to do a hackathon the hackathon we hosted, in its format, it's not so different than any other like in-person hackathon. So you do have a very intense period of time. Typically, it's 72 hours, 3 days. Sometimes it's 1 day. And Thibaut highlights very correctly that we had the opportunity for people to stay on the grounds if they wanted to. But the takeaway here is that like people are grinding hard. Like I've never seen Nikos so stuck to his laptop. Usually Nikos likes to be, mingling and socializing. This guy also has a full-time job. He's really busy with a lot of stuff, and he was there at Funkhaus hacking away with Thibaut and the delegate team, right? I mean, same applies to you guys, Alberto. I know you guys are a super power team. And it's true that probably the people on this call are not the ones that I saw sleeping on the desk until 5 a.m. on the first day. But there was some teams that were doing that, right? For sure.
I do have another.
Tend to be the youngers. Yeah.
I do have another. Yeah, that's what I heard from Thibaut. It's like depending on your age and how much money you have, that decides if you're sleeping there or not. I do have another just like noob question about hackathon. So, are you pairing up the participants into teams, or do they come in with a team already formed?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So typically there's two types of like personas that are going to be applying for the hackathon, at least the ones that we saw that applied for the block space symmetry, that was a hackathon we hosted. There's the people that come with an idea already. So they have typically an idea, and maybe they also have another buddy that they would be working on that idea with. Good. And then there's other people that are there to just learn. And so I actually, my passion is to actually try to empower those people that are new to the whole thing. They are really curious about excelling, or at least discovering new skills and discovering new technologies and stuff like that. And then those people basically, what we had for what we organized was that there was a matchmaking opportunity for teams that basically we had this board where we had kind of two boards. I think we had like basically the types of things that, so for example, if I come to the hackathon and I have an idea, but I don't really have teammates, well, you put your idea on the board and then people can be like,
got it.
I'd like to work on that. Okay, I'm going to put a name on the board. And so what we found is that a lot of teams formed like this. I want to highlight that we had 28 submissions. Right now on the call is the team that the judges deemed as the most promising to be launching their products in the next few months. But out of the 28 submissions, there were some excellent, really, really cool projects, not only for the things that they actually managed to build, but a lot of it is the spirit behind it, right? So we saw a lot of that too. People that are just passionate about spending their time trying new things out. And I was really, 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 really happy about seeing a good diversity in those two groups of people.
And I understand that you don't even necessarily need to be technical to participate in these hackathons. For example, I think Alice and Bob, Tommy, I heard he attended. And do you know what he worked on?
It was a rubbish idea. I told him right away. No, I'm kind of joking, but half not joking. Okay, should I tell you what he? But he.
Let's hear what he
super technical. Alice and Bob was actually wanting to do messaging system based on remarks, right? On Polkadot, you can send some remarks, so basically a bunch of text, right? And he was thinking about encrypting this based on the address of the recipient, so that only the recipient can read it. The idea is cool, but it just doesn't scale. That's how the remarks NFTs were built originally, and it doesn't scale. Like you cannot have a messaging platform based on remarks. But anyway, just back to your question, you absolutely do not need to have to be completely technical or to be a developer. Delegate team, for instance, has a designer and has a product manager. It's actually Crane from the Kusamarian, as in, it's someone who knows about the problem we're trying to solve, and he can give many inputs, as in, as a normal user, as a non-technical user, I want to see this, I want to do that, or I don't understand your jargon that you're putting on your interface here. So this is extremely important. They obviously can help about, presentation, all the communication, the marketing, all this stuff. Like there's so much that developers are rubbish at, and that non-developers could help tremendously with. And we need these people, so yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. I want to add on top that, for example, Crane gave one of the best ideas for the Delegate platform, which is that somebody could just share a link, and the person who wants to delegate to that specific team will go straight and delegate to the team. And that's what one of the big things that we added on the platform, coming from the idea from a non-tech person, and we value him a lot. Hey, Crane, nice to be with you.
Yeah, he's out there watching somewhere. He's out there watching
sure.
somewhere. So we heard. Okay, before we jump too far ahead, Sasha, maybe you want to take us through what these guys were working on at the hackathon, and we can dive into it.
For sure, yeah. Let's dive into it. I mean, I do want to. So we're really lucky to be joined here by people that aren't. So Alberto and Joshua, their submission is a reminder here. You know, this was mainly supported by the Web3 Foundation, and it was a hackathon that was hosted in the premise and the context of the Web3 Summit. So, but it was chain agnostic, and we've really lucky here to be joined by Joshua and Alberto, who worked on a solution that's their stack is the EVM, I believe, and that's where you're most comfortable. And so you just shipped a really great common good product that hits the nail on the head on the problem that you wanted to solve. Wait, so I want to hear from you guys. Like, you guys have been to a bunch of hackathons too. What is it that you guys have to share on the notes that we just talked about? Namely, like, do you need what kind of tips do you have for people going to these hackathons? Like, do you need a technical person? What's the mindset that you'd like to share? I'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, so I've been to many hackathons, and now I'm getting a bit older, to say, and I'm also the guy that is not sleeping at the hackathon, but I saw some people sleeping on the couches over there. And like, usually what I do is I apply it's called 6-2-1 rule. Maybe you saw these at some CCC events, like Yes Computer Club. It's like 6 hours of sleep, 2 meals, 1 shower. And because, like, you can spend the whole night coding, but you need also to be lucid and to have a clear mind when you do things.
Right.
And what I learned also in the last years, and also working with Joshua and Nicola, we applied this kind of framework that is based on the bell curve meme that I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You have this bell curve, you have on the left side a troglodyte, at the center a guy cringing hard, and on the right side, the Jedi. And often the troglodyte and the Jedi agree on something, while the other guy is cringing hard. So when we enter discussions, and it happens a lot during hackathons, because you need to really focus your energy on something that is very specific, we open this image and we point our finger to, like, where in the curve we are. And if we're at the top of the curve, we try to go down. Usually we go to the troglodyte side, because it's too difficult to go to the Jedi side. But this is a way to say, thank you so much. Exactly this. And this is a way that helps us to, yes, perfect. And this is what is like I wouldn't say it's a methodology, but maybe we can call it methodology that works quite well on this side. So it helps you, like, understanding exactly what is the core value of your product. And if you can really identify this, then you can hack on it, and you don't need to stress probably too much. Doesn't apply for everything, but for us, it works quite well.
Yeah. So before thank you so much, actually, for adding color there. It's like, for me, it's just, there's this preconception that hackathons is kind of just this, like, black box for people that are new to them. But in fact, like, everyone experiences hackathons in different ways, and everyone kind of makes the most of their time in different ways. So it's really great to hear, like, different perspectives. I think that to move on to the next kind of topic, guys, or Evan, like, unless you disagree, I want to highlight basically why this hackathon was maybe different from others. And then we can go right into learning about what Propcorn built and what Delegate built. So with that, okay, I'll share my screen because this kind of gives a nice little overview of what it is that made this hackathon probably different from others. So I hope that we can see my screen. Cool. Essentially, what we did is we wanted to make sure that everything was geared towards identifying and empowering the projects that we think will be able to launch in the next few months. So we had some partners, thankfully, our hackathon partners, putting money in a pot of funds. But the way that we've actually made use of those funds was, in a lot of hackathons, you actually have first prize, second prize, third prize, and first place, right? It's very, like, competitive in that way, which is good. But what that, in my view, the risks with that is that you kind of fall into this trap of like trying to figure out what is better than, like, what would deserve the second place versus the third place, and in a lot of cases it's a clear decision for judges. But what I wanted to make sure, and on behalf of the Webzero team, what we really wanted to do here was that there's no hierarchy in prizes, because what matters the most is whether or not this product is going to be useful to people. And it's not a product that is for profit. It could be very well in the future, but our concern is we want to be launching public goods for Web3. So the prize pool was actually 35K is what we managed to close. And the way that we did is actually we split up that prize pool in 7 slots, because we decided that a 5K prize is enough to incentivize people who've won. I say quote unquote because it's really an attribution of a slot of the pie. It's again like you've only won because the judges thought that out of the 28 submissions, yours was probably the best one for launching in the next few months. And we've actually we describe it here, whereby the 5K is then split into 2. You get the first payment, which is 3K, as a token of gratitude for all the time that you've put, and the fact that you've actually, Webzero is also going to be supporting you. The judges think that your project is really, really prominent. And then the next 2K actually come once these teams manage to do the next milestone, i.e. like I'll be like more clear for people that are new to hackathons. You don't actually build a product ready, a production ready product after a hackathon. There's still a lot of work to do, and so what this second milestone payment is really geared towards is making sure that we can support and take the time that we have now that the hackathon's concluded, and basically work towards launching these products in the next 2 months. So that's just a little note on the prize pool and how what makes this hackathon different. So today, I'll stop sharing my screen because I think we can kind of go into like what these projects built. But today it's about just sharing with the community what these guys are up to. I guess like for the hackers here, Nikos, Alberto, Joshua, and Thibaut, any comments on that? Like, I think that was a little bit of a different approach to hackathons. What did you guys think? Maybe Joshua, I'd love to hear from you.
Yes. So I thought it was a really, really good approach. It gave everyone like a fair kind of feeling, and like you already said, it wasn't so competitive or give like people like the doubt in themselves, like, hey, why are we only 4th place or not like 2nd place or whatever. So it really was more like a fair kind of feeling, and I think we really love the approach, and I think that's like an approach which should be done with more hackathons, to be honest. So that was like really good, and we really appreciate how it was done.
No, thanks. And I guess like before we jump in, this is 2 of the 8 teams that actually got a piece of the prize pool, right? So on demo day, Evan, you weren't there. You were in Bali or something, I think. But on demo day, basically what happened is that the judges announced the projects that they thought would meet the mark on being able to be launched in the next two months or not. And there was only 4. There was only 4 that were announced. So that means that there was 3 more seats that weren't assigned to anyone. So after the hackathon, Webzero basically came back to the drawing board and said, okay, this happened. So let's work with the judges to figure out what we do with the rest of the funds. And so essentially, the judges identified runner-ups, an additional 4 of them, where we split the remaining of the prize pool to those 4 teams. So this is the first kind of, we're introducing the first 2 teams that were announced. And with that being said, I think we should dive right into it. So I really, really, really want to hear who should go. Who wants to go first? Like, so the questions will be like, what did you build? Where are you at today? And what's the next steps looking like for you guys?
I even have a question before that. I want to know
For sure.
what Propcorn and Delegate mean, or where you got the name. I'm always curious about company names or project names. So why don't we just start with Delegate? What's the name come from? Thibaut, you're on mute. Yeah, I'll unmute you here. Yeah, there you go.
What do you think about when you hear the word delegate?
Delegation, of course.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think, I mean, I'm a bit of a nerd in some sense that, you know, when you want to choose a word for your project, it has to be to hit the nail, basically. I want people to be able to remember exactly, really quickly, this thing that Thibaut talked about and Nikos talked about, you know, when they saw on Twitter this space, right? It's like, oh, it's about delegation. Well, here you go, you know, delegate. Just like I
Multics.
try to, exactly. It's like exactly like Multics. You want to do stuff with multi-sigs, Multics, super simple. Like you have to remember the thing. And I really like the word popcorn though. So I'm really looking forward to hear why.
Oh,
Nothing.
sorry, you're on mute there, Albie. You're on mute.
Yeah.
Take it from the top. You're on mute. Yeah, you're good now. We hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So about the name, we were just thinking about working on this kind of proposal, or a protocol to create proposal on microfunding. I will explain more about the project later, but about the name, just Nicola came out with Propcorn. Why? I don't know exactly. I think I know the reason though. He likes a song called Popcorn. That is a very old school song. I will share the link later if you want. And he was, I guess, thinking about proposal, popcorn, propcorn. And I don't know, I found the name fun and people like it. I don't know why. And now we can use the emoji or the popcorn emoji also for, we identify the project. And on the other side, given that it's about open source contributions, oftentimes, you know, that you have this popcorn moment when you see people fighting on things and having this kind of huge flame fights. And there is someone posting the GIF of Michael Jackson in the popcorn. So I think it's also related to that.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense, I know, but it is what it is.
I just realized it's propcorn. Look, my eyes didn't process the R. Like I didn't see the popcorn. I just saw popcorn like since, 3 weeks ago that you guys won and everything. It's like the first time I realized it. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I completely makes sense now with the proposal.
Thibaut, once they show you, I think it's a good segue. Maybe you guys can like kick it off with what you built. But Thibaut, you'll see they use the emoji in their GitHub issues. So it's but the popcorn emoji is really nice. But it's true, even more confusing. It's propcorn. I just want to share how I thought about it was like props, like props, like well done. Like I didn't think so much of proposals, but so actually, Albie, you want to take us away? Like, what did you guys build? What was the motivation really behind building what you built? Maybe we can start there, and you can share your screen and go ahead and show us what did you build.
Sure thing. First of all, that's also another great interpretation of the name with prop, and I think I like it more than what we thought. And apart from that, so the problem we're talking about here is open source funding. We all know that this is a huge problem. There are platforms that are trying to solve this kind of issue. In the Web3 space, we have projects like Gitcoin. We also have, let me think, there is Gitcoin, Octant, OnlyDust, and the third one that is CLR Fund. I used Gitcoin for a while. I also got some money out of some grants. And while I think it's a super powerful platform for funding open source projects, I also think that it's even too powerful sometimes. And I made this joke during the presentation of the project, and Propcorn is a shovel compared to, for example, Gitcoin that is an excavator. So sometimes if I need to dig a hole, I just need a shovel. I don't need an excavator. And Popcorn is the shovel, basically. I can share my screen quickly and give you a super fast tour about Popcorn. Okay, now it seems to work. So this is the website, again, hackathon style, so super basic and not fully responsive, as you would expect from this kind of projects. So what you do is actually quite simple. So if you identify something you want to work on, and you want also to create a small funding round around this kind of issue, what you can do is, I don't know, you find this issue that is add a light theme to Popcorn. It's a bit self-referential. I hope it's not too complicated. But let's say this is an open source project, Popcorn. And we have issues. We have things we want people to work on. So if you want to work on this specific issue, that is add a light theme to the dev, what you can do as an external developer, you can you can copy the link, you go to Popcorn, you say, I want to work on this, adding a light theme, dark and light theme with, I don't know, 0.1 ETH as an example. This will take me 1 day of work. Actually, that's a bit too much, but that's okay. And then you can also add optional protocol fee. So I don't know why it's 10, 5, and 15, whatever. But here, basically, it's a way to sponsor Popcorn itself. When you create this proposal, you end up with a link that looks something like this.
And that link's auto-generated into the GitHub?
No, it actually is very what you do. You click submit, but after you click submit, you have a link to your proposal with this data inside. And give me a second because I don't. Okay, now it's loading, almost loading. Wait, this is. Oh, come on. Oh, I should have tried this before. Anyway, imagine to see here the amount I require to work on that proposal, on that issue, how much time I want to work on it, and the protocol fee. And in this link, you see all the information about my proposal. And anyone that is willing to fund the proposal can add some money here until I reach the threshold that I specified for the funding. So what you do is, again, I go to GitHub, I copy the issue, I create a new proposal, I have a link to the proposal, and then I copy paste the link of my proposal to GitHub to start a discussion. This is Tim. So we were testing this thing with Tim, and Tim, as an external developer, made his offer to work on this. So long story short, Popcorn is a platform, is a public good for microfunding around specific GitHub issues. And it's a very basic way to collect money to work on some specific features. What is quite cool is that it's just a link. You can put it on GitHub. You can also share it on X, or you can share it wherever you want. And then you can collect basically money for your proposal, and then you will eventually get the money when you're done.
Very cool. Very cool. And I have a question, 2 questions actually. So the protocol fee, you can select between, was it 5, 10, and 15%? Does that give you any sort of priority or anything, or is it just sort of like a tip to Popcorn, or what is that exactly?
This is just a tip to Popcorn. It's basically to support the project, and you see these on like other public goods like Xerox Splits. They have a similar approach, and many others. You can also put 0 here, but we will add the features, so you will see us crying if you put 0.
Very cool. And second follow-up question was, how do you verify? Does the person that submits a proposal only get paid if they complete the project, and how is that like verified? Is that
That's a very good question. And so right now it works like this. Maybe I can stop screen sharing so you can see my face. I don't have to show anything else right now, even if the UI was probably better. Anyway, right now the protocol is super simple. So if your proposal reaches the threshold that you specified, I don't know, 0.1 ETH, then the money is released after the amount of time you specified So if I say I will work on this feature for 8 hours, I will be able to withdraw the money as a developer after 8 hours since the requested amount was fulfilled. So this is okay. I don't want to open a huge discussion, but just to quickly talk about what we're missing with Popcorn. We would like to add 2 things. One is rage quit, just inspired by Moloch DAO. So if you put money, if you fund a proposal, but you're not happy on how the things are going, you can rage quit and withdraw your money. And we need to understand exactly how this can work. There is a second feature we would like to add, that is proof of done. It's difficult, of course, to understand when an issue is done, and you cannot easily put GitHub info, like, I don't know, if the pull request is merged, then make a transaction on the smart contract to release the funds. That's a bit too complex for now. So we were also thinking about having this kind of proof of done, where people that funded the issue can vote or eventually veto if they're not happy with the implementation. So in a way, each proposal is a micro DAO itself. Amazing. If there are any other ideas, we're more than happy to hear them, of course.
Cool. I'm curious what Thibaut and Nikos think of Popcorn. You guys have any questions for Albi? I'm gonna throw you under the bus here, Thibaut. I'm putting on the big screen and force you to ask a question. It looks like he's frozen up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you can put me on. Not. Actually, you can put me up there, Evan.
Yeah.
So
okay, let's do it.
As somebody who has really kind of cut my teeth in the open source world, namely working on the early working in documentation for Substrate, trying to really capitalize off the spirit of open source for crowdsourcing, or at least crowdsourcing talent. The Polkadot SDK, in fact, has a GitHub Actions that if you want to tip someone for their work, if you want to tip someone for their work, you can actually do it. I mean, it's a Polkadot native thing, but it's actually it's kind of a little bit tedious. What I would love to be seeing is a much easier way to, for example, if I really want to get this issue done and I just need help doing it, I can use Popcorn, and I could actually I could delegate my work, but in the sense of coding, to other people that I think could do the work better. And I think that could be a really cool feature, not just for, literally the thing that Popcorn could be really cool in terms of how it could be used is that it could be used for any GitHub repo. And it's not tied to, for the Polkadotters out there, you'd probably know that there's a special track that needs to be voted on every time that there's a tip that wants to be issued. And that works fine, but it's also very native to Polkadot. And it's also not as malleable for people that want to just be using a solution to crowdsource development activity. That's my comments on it. But I think Nikos has a lot of stuff to say.
Yeah. What I wanted to add is that about the thing that Albi, first of all, to say that it sounds amazing. It's probably solving a very big issue that exists out there of people getting funded at once when they complete something that they want to build on. They want to build on something and they get money as soon as they make it done, completed as done. Probably the saying it that it is done. For me, if you ask me, Albi, it would be like if the issue is merged. So as soon as the issue is merged, that means that it is done, as long as we talk only about coding issues on GitHub. But it solves a very big issue of somebody getting work done. Like in Polkadot, for example, and Sasha knows it very well, you may do some work and then the tip will come and then people vote if you get the tip, kind of. So you maybe even do the work and not get the tip out of it. I don't have a question because I would really like to work on the Popcorn a little bit to see how it works and everything. And I don't want to mention anything, but I think it's a very good idea and it will help a lot of people to jump in an ecosystem very fast. And it can be applied in more than Polkadot or in other ecosystems as well.
Yeah, definitely. We would love to see people using this kind of microfunding tool for sponsoring small issues. And yeah, as you mentioned, like if you have a big project, you can also split it to small microfunding rounds instead of having this kind of huge machinery that you have also with other systems. Just a note, here with Popcorn, just to demo, we're using GitHub, but of course you can put any link. We just use GitHub so it's a bit easier to understand. But like you can put, GitLab, of course, but you can put anything. You can also make a tweet asking for someone to work on something, and then you link the tweet with the proposal. And then you use Twitter instead of X. I hope Elon Musk is not not listening to me, but you can use it with anything that has a URL.
Cool. That's amazing.
Wait, can you elaborate on that? You can use it with anything that has a URL. So any GitHub issue, also GitLab?
Yeah, like what we did here, like in the UI, we put GitHub issue, but this honestly is just URL, or anyways, free text, to be honest. So no one is checking that starts with HTTPS. But still, what I'm saying is, I can on X, I can create this post and write, "Hey, I need help with I don't know, a new logo for something. Please submit your proposals." And then people can go to Popcorn, take the link of my post, put it in there, and it's exactly the same flow. It's just a URL. And what you get in return from Popcorn is the URL of your proposal that you can copy paste somewhere else. So that's the protocol. Is super. Can I say stupid? No, I should say simple, not stupid. They told me to use simple instead of stupid. Yes.
That's funny. So that's a really cool project, and I like that you can use it for other things as well, like as you mentioned, tweeting. So that's relevant to me as a marketer. Why don't we go over to Delegate next, hear about what you guys built, and then we kind of can finish off by seeing what the next steps are for both teams. So how about we go over to Nikos?
Thank you, because Thibaut is stealing my star all the time and my thunder. Yeah, Delegate. So we're building the idea of Thibaut. Actually, it's a Delegate platform, something that is missing from the web for the Polkadot ecosystem. The idea appeared like I was just talking to Thibaut about something completely irrelevant, and he said to me, "I'm going to Hackathon to build this," and I was like, "Can I join?" He was like, "Sure." And then we went there, and we just in a few hours we just built a dashboard that someone can use to delegate his thoughts for voting for referenda, etc., etc. And that's the whole idea. The idea delegate came from Thibaut, the name, and I just allow him to be the boss in the whole thing and drive it. I'm just kidding. We were building it in these 2.5 days. Nothing was pre-built, just some template things that we reused from other projects, and yeah, that was the whole idea. Delegation.
Okay, so Thibaut, maybe you can take us into a bit more detail, but before we do, some of our audience, they might not even know what delegating is. So for some of the viewers, if you have DAW and you can't keep up with all the proposals coming through Polkadot OpenGov, you can actually delegate your DAW to someone else to vote on your behalf. So for example, you might delegate your DAW for one of the technical tracks because you're not technical yourself and you would rather have a developer reviewing those proposals. And so on. So Thibaut, why don't you tell us about a bit more detail about Delegate?
So delegation on Polkadot, as you said, is pretty cool. As in, you can there's a lot of things happening in the OpenGov, which is the governance on Polkadot. There are like referenda all the time, like every day, literally several. You're supposed to read them, and then you can vote. And obviously, no one, unless you spend most of your day doing this and doing due diligence, no one can actually really take the time to do this. So one of the solutions the Polkadot teams have built is delegation, so that you don't have to spend time, but you can delegate your vote to people you think vote in the direction that you believe in. And so this is super cool. Now, the reality is there are very few people delegating and there are very few people voting today on referenda. And what that means is that the network is or the governance is less decentralized. It's pretty centralized in the sense that there are just say 1 to 2% of the dot holders that vote today on referenda and stuff, you know, that treasury spending, or even, you know, where the protocol is evolving, right? Because we talk a lot about Polkadot treasury that spends a lot of funds to fund some teams or some events, but everyone actually votes on every protocol upgrade that Polkadot, you know, allows. And this is extremely important. And that's why we need a lot more people voting. And the thing is, if you don't vote and if you don't delegate, well, you end up with, you know, 1-2% of the dot holders voting, meaning that a few amount of people actually decide on the outcome of these referendums, which is actually, you know, taking away democracy, because you want to have many people share their voice. And so delegation is cool. Now there was a problem, and this is actually something. Let me share my screen because I have something prepared for this. This is something so that people know about it, and that I read, like many of you, on, you know, Twitter. I'm gonna call it Twitter because I hate the word X and I don't care about Elon Musk. But anyway, this guy Birdo is actually a famous name in the Polkadot ecosystem. And, you know, he said delegation is super important. Current delegation tools are poor. Solve this problem and you get funding. So basically, that's it. That's quite simple. As in, you know, people need a tool to delegate. Super simple. And there are many tools that can do many things in the Polkadot ecosystem. But just this one, delegating, needs to be actually 1 or 2 clicks. And the truth is, it's actually not that simple in the background, right? Now, the thing is, I personally, and I knew Nikos from before, and I knew he knew about, you know, this new API, which is called Papi, which is amazing, that you will hear probably in some next Twitter space, because these guys won as well, you know, a hackathon project. But anyway, I wanted to try this. I wanted to, you know, just solve the problem, because today on desktop, it's actually not really well done. You can do it well on Nova Wallet, which is a mobile wallet. But on desktop, like on a website, it's super hard. And there are many that try it. I'm not going to name names, but very often it's actually not working well because it's complex. So I'm going to show stuff. I'm going to show delegate because actually it's live. And we can actually say today, you know, that you just can go and use it. It's delegate.xyz. And you just go, I mean, it's live, right? Like, this is a live thing on Polkadot. This is my real address, right? And I see this in my state, or the state of my account. So this is some stuff that are interesting for you as someone who may have voted before. Here I can see that I've been actually voting on some referenda, and, you know, couple dots just to show like that I'm A on A, basically. And I have some locks there. So I actually need to unlock this if I want to get these funds back, because they're reserved. So delegate shows it to you. Now I have some other referenda that I had been voting on in the, you know, past couple weeks, and these are also displayed like in 3.5 days, or more than 3 days. I'll have some funds basically unlocked that will be in this state, and I could have been voting also. And here I can see my delegation. So here in that case, it's just for, you know, an example. So I was just delegating to a random guy with 5 dots and some delegation. I can undelegate here. It's, you know, it's 1 click. But then I have a list of, you know, delegate that or vocal that are public, and you can read about them, like the Chaos DAO, the famous Chaos DAO. Now I'm gonna click on this. You're gonna see some, you know, some stuff like this we need to make nicer. But anyway, you can read about this. And this is the one thing that is super hard. You can delegate in 1 click. Literally, you know, like I can say, I'm gonna delegate. Oh wait, you know what? I'm gonna switch to some switching.
How are
to
these
some...
delegates? How are these delegates ordered? I'm just
so right now they're literally A to, you know, like probably yeah, it's like, you know, it's not A to B, but there was some order and some. We need to shuffle this. Like, this is the kind of thing that. So our motto is just deliver and iterate based on what people say, right? So literally, there's one guy called Jeeper that is recently a delegate on Polkadot, right? So if you go to the bottom here, wait, I'm on Polkadot. Oh, okay, I thought he was there, but anyway, maybe it was on Kusama. Anyway, he added his name recently on. It's not there. I saw it before, but anyway. So this is a list of people that basically there's a list on the Nova GitHub repo where you can add yourself, basically. So here, for instance, I'm just for fun, I have delegated on Alex promo team, but I'm just going to switch to a testnet so I can show you, you can be delegating some different amounts for different convictions. So you have some Lux fund on different tracks, right? So here I have several of them. I have a bunch of unlockable. I am unlocking right now because, it's going to be unlocked in 15 minutes. Anyway, and yeah, what I wanted to come to is if I want to delegate to Chaos DAO, it's literally Chaos DAO can take this link, so with delegate.xyz here, and like people will just land here and will be able to delegate directly, right? Say I want to, delegate for, yeah, maybe that's actually going to be more than one click. It's going to be 2 clicks, but anyway, yeah, I have 2 clicks because you're going to see, I don't know if you can see my talisman here right now.
No, we can't see it, but we
cannot
yeah.
see it. Okay, that's fine. That's fair. But the thing is, it's super complex, basically, to delegate, undelegate, etc. It's like to delegate, you need to first undelegate. Eventually, you need to, unlock some other funds, etc. And so basically, in like 2 clicks, super simple, you will be able to delegate to Chaos DAO. And yeah, that's it. Like it's quite simple, and we just want to.
Yeah,
I cannot. Oh yeah.
If I can add on top something.
No, you're not.
Please go ahead, Nikos. Go ahead, Nikos.
Yeah, he stopped. Thibaut stopped sharing his screen. I want to say that this is the idea that Crane came up with, that we can use this link and people can go and delegate straight on persons. We want to add statistics there. We want to add links for the websites of each delegator. Other links that are on chain exist there, and we're actually having open PRs on that. And because not everybody wants to have a website that they can advertise their delegation link, the way to delegate, and not everybody's using the mobile wallets or other tools. So you can give them a platform that they can just share the link anywhere, and somebody will just click and go connect his wallet and delegate at once.
Really cool. I must say, I would be actually one of your first users, because when I remember I was trying to use, there was a Polkadot delegating dashboard, I think maybe built by Parity or something, but I couldn't.
We didn't name any names.
Okay, yeah. I don't know who built it.
Yeah, this one is deprecated, yeah.
Right, it wasn't working as intended, so I ended up going to Nova and, importing all my phrases into Nova and doing it there.
And I see a comment from Sean in the comment there saying it would be cool to have it as a blink, which is this blockchain links. It's like basically a way to embed some logic into a tweet or something where just a couple clicks. And this delegate, I mean, this page that you saw where you just have the slider, etc., is exactly that. For Blink, it's like literally a call to action for any delegate. It's like, hey, you want to delegate to me? Click on this. This is a delegate link, and it just goes, figure out all the votes you've done, the delegation you've done in the past, the unlocking, the whatever. You end up with a huge batch. It's a big transaction, right? Sometimes it has to be actually cut into 2 on Kusama, just like it was displayed on my demo. And, at the end of the day, then you end up having just, couple clicks and boom, it works, right? And that's the Blink thing, cool. Exactly.
Yeah, and both Thibaut and I, we have faced many times the problem of delegation, of voting in referendums, and like not following up and trying to figure out a way to make it easier. We couldn't find something. So when Thibaut came with the idea of building this up during the hackathon, I was sure, let's do that. I mean, it's not something complicated. It is complicated, but I mean, we're still fighting the good fight. We released it. It's still kind of having bugs, but it's working. We're working on it almost daily.
If it has bugs, please reach out, right? Like people, this is now the first time we talk about delegate outside, right? Like it's been there for a couple of weeks. We've been trying it super hard. We're working on it literally every day since the past like 2-3 weeks after the hackathon with Nikos. Please, this is extremely important. If there are bugs, don't think we're gonna see them, right? Like come to us, tweet at us, Telegram, anything. Exactly, delegate.xyz.
Yeah.
Does it need to be audited or anything, like for security, or is it like it's good to go?
Okay. So simple. Like there's nothing crazy. We're just using the blockchain right away. There's actually no index or nothing right now. We'll add it probably for metrics. Maybe we talk about this after. But yeah, no, there's absolutely no audit needed.
Got it.
I
love
would like
that
to
you
ask a
can
couple of
see.
questions.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Albie.
Should I go? Okay, first of all, I really like what you've done, and I also feel that this is a bit of a like shovel approach compared to excavators. And I also love the idea that you have the URL that you can share. Like I like these kind of things, as you know. And first, I have a question about. It's also a question that I think Wayne K posted. I had a similar one. So can you override the vote of the person you delegate to? Or I don't know if it's also something you can solve or should be part of the protocol.
And this is a huge problem actually, because people were like, oh, my delegate is going to vote aye on this referendum I have strong opinions against. So I want to just override. Well, you have to undelegate, then vote, then delegate again. And good luck without delegate to do it today. So the protocol basically doesn't help you for this. It's just because it's very hard actually. You have to lock some tokens for a certain amount of time, etc., with some conviction. And basically the protocol doesn't allow it. Maybe in the future, why not? I guess people have asked this. I think actually Chaos DAO has asked this in a RFC, but anyway, this is not possible. But thanks to delegate, it's actually a couple of clicks, but
it's a bit simple. Yes, it's more simple.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah.
And second question, really quickly, I don't know if it's a terrible idea, maybe it is, but what about having an incentive in voting? I guess it's not a new idea, but I'm just wondering.
I have extremely strong opinions on this.
This could be its own live stream.
Yeah.
This could be its.
So we can discuss this later. Last question, super quickly. I saw in the UI there was a conviction, I think. What is it?
It's a lockup period, basically.
So,
and also how many,
Conviction is actually multiplying the votes that you have. So if you want to vote, let's say 10 dots, and you decide that you're going to be delegating with a conviction of 5 multiplied by 5, that means that you can vote instead of 10 dots, 50 dots, but it locks your dots. After the voting of a referendum is done, then your dots are locked for this amount of time. So for, I don't remember how many days it is multiplied by 5.
I think 3x is 28 days.
Something like
5x is like
something like
5x is like 254 days. Yeah,
254 days.
Basically, it gives voters who have a super strong opinion, it gives them more vote, but you have to basically lock your dots, meaning you cannot sell, right? Like you have strong opinion that this referenda is really good for the for the Polkadot ecosystem, but it means you're in for the next 250 days if you like lock them for 6x, for instance, which is some.
You just put more skin in the game. Like you believe too much in a referenda, then you put more money into it, and they get locked. But that's what a vote is done, and it's the same thing in delegation as it is if you were voting by yourself. You just decide to give the access to someone to be able to vote with that conviction for you, if you trust the delegate or too much.
This is a really great product because it's solving a big problem too, about getting more people involved with OpenGov. As you mentioned, unfortunately, the turnout is not always very high unless it's like extremely controversial. And it's, it would be great to have more dot holders participate. So I really, really love this product you guys have built. I would definitely be a user of it. I'm trying to manage, sometimes I have like vested dot, I have staked dot, and I have 4x conviction dot. And when I try to time them and make sure they all unlock at the same time, it gets very complicated. So this product would be perfect for that.
I'm if you guys don't mind me butting in, I know we're really short on time. I really want to hear from Albie, you've shared a bit of your questions, but like for people that are new to Polkadot, how does this what parallels do you draw from maybe the Web3 spaces you're used to? I'm just curious, like anything to share there?
Yeah, I've been working with Cosmos for a while, and I don't know much about Polkadot, I have to be honest, because when I started my journey in blockchain, I went from Bitcoin to Ethereum, and then I just kept working with EVM based blockchains. But all these kind of I'm really interested to see how Polkadot works with this kind of domain specific blockchains, because this is something I don't know actually, and I'm really curious to dig more into this, because I see Cosmos, I see like how it works. I know also the limitations, and I would like to see if Polkadot how it's doing on this side, basically for inter-blockchain communication, all these kind of things.
As someone who's kind of got around the different blockchains and you know, starting with Ethereum and then kind of moving towards Polkadot, I think there's just one thing to be said about, like, you know, Delegate really is a super important tool for interacting with the core protocol. That is a protocol that allows DOT holders, anyone that holds DOT, to participate in the future and prosperity of the network. And we've seen a lot of attempts to do governance on chain with early days of Ethereum. I think we owe a lot of the early research to Vlad Zamfir, for example, and trying to engineer governance systems that are proof of stake based, and a lot of different branches of innovation. And Polkadot really, if you think about one of its biggest products, it's OpenGov. So I'm always really interested to seeing people that are new to Polkadot interact with this really core system that makes Polkadot. But I guess we are running out of time, and normally Evan, you'd be interrupting me right now because I talk too much. Maybe we can wrap up with.
Well, I would love to hear what's next. So, I mean, like, when Treasury proposal maybe from Albi to get him into the Polkadot ecosystem and out of Cosmos. You know, we'd love to have you building over here. Thibaut and Nikos, you know, what's next for you guys with Delegate? How are you, like 60% there, 80%? What else needs to be done? So, like, what are the next steps here for you guys?
Maybe I can start quickly.
Yeah,
sure. Oh, Joshua, do you want to go? Or
I can also.
Okay,
yeah,
you go, because I'm talking too much. You go.
No, it's okay. So, yeah, the next steps was, as I recall, of course, finish the platform so it works perfectly and fine. Get the bugs fixed, and what's most important then for the future is, I mean, since EVM chains and since we also talked about Polkadot being so great with the interoperability, operating with all the chains together, is we want to build also like that it's easy for users to use EVM chains together, where Chainlink got this new perfect CCIP bridge where it's like really easy to communicate with through different EVM chains with each other. So the dream, in the near future, we want to see how users from Optimism, Base, Ethereum, Avalanche, etc. Can use Propcon, can fund the proposals on any chains. For example, let's say I want funds on Ethereum. I use Ethereum the most, but users can send me ETH from Avalanche, from Optimism, or whatever, and I can then use these funds on Ethereum, so it's easier for users to onboard or when they want to save gas costs. So that would be like one of the next steps. And yeah, that's Alberto. Do you have something to add to that?
What about Joshua making
Yeah.
USDC on Asset Hub? So like, I would love to use Propcorn on Polkadot repos, and I know that like probably the Polkadot person will just want to have USDC on native Polkadot. So that's probably a cool next step forward.
Yes.
Yeah,
why
actually.
not?
No, about this, like, we're happy to also have a chat with you guys, and so you can maybe help us and guide us a bit in the ecosystem, so we know like where to go in order to deploy something like this on Polkadot. And definitely, just one thing I also wanted to mention is we would like to have an audit. I mean, the smart contract is quite simple, to be honest. We don't want to overcomplicate it, because I still want it to be a shovel. And but we would, given that this contract will manage money, we would love to have an actual audit. I mean, we're extremely good developers, you know, but still having someone else checking it can be useful.
Cool. All right, Delegate team, what's next for you guys? Let's go, Thibaut.
Nothing next. It's done. It's perfect. It's, you know,
ready to go.
Yeah, no, we just want to basically get users, get feedback. It's working, or should be working today. there are many things that we think of that could make sense, such as metrics and stuff like this. I don't want to give too many ideas, but people should just, if you said you are a user, please just, if you have any idea, just come to us. Like, we're easy to find, Nikos and myself and Crane, etc. Just shout, on Twitter, on Telegram, or in DM or whatever, we're there. And we want to hear what people want. And because mostly we cannot, come up with all these needs. It doesn't mean that we'll develop everything. It's just that, we definitely want to, keep going and make it just the default delegation thing, that people think, oh, I want to see my lock funds and I want to delegate. Like, boom, delegate, right? Like, you could go on Polkadot.js apps, you could go on this, on that, but you know what? Like, there's one thing that does it well. Doesn't mean that in 2 years we won't be completely irrelevant, because there will be a super amazing super app, or Talisman will have it super nicely integrated or whatever. But right now it solves a problem, and we want to just make it just better. And
cool.
Maybe you want to add something, Nikos?
Yeah, I just want to say that the first thing is to finish up version 1, let's say, that will not have too many bugs, that it will be working. We want to make it simple, not only for the user, but only for the people who want users to delegate on them. And then, as you said, Thibaut, I agree, come give us ideas how to make it even simpler for the user. We want to add information, we want to add metrics, links for the delegators, and make it a platform very easy for everybody to use, because it's, as it was shown in the screenshot before, it's very important to have a good delegation system, so people who owns DOT can vote, can delegate their votes if they don't want to follow it up and vote.
I'm going to go to delegate right after this live stream and play around with it and see when some of my convictions are unlocking. So
just start with a few dots at the beginning. Just start with a few dots and then go all in.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Sasha, let's come to you to close us out here.
So how about this, guys, for sort of a combined next step? Well, so I mean, okay, so Webzero right now is going to be not really hand-holding, but we're here to help both you guys, like both these teams. We're here to at least guide. Like, for example, if the Propcorn team does want some assistance with setting up a treasury proposal to continue the development of some feature set that is Polkadot specific, Webzero is here to support these teams. That's what, like, from the beginning, this hackathon was all about this right now, this phase, and this phase of, like, we just really want to see some great useful products out there. I think a good kind of closing thought is, because a lot of the things I want to be seeing out of this is not only making an impact for end users, but kind of cross-pollinating these different developers in Web3, not just Polkadot. I think there's a lot cost to learn, right? Like, from both sides. So I would leave it with, what would it look like to actually integrate Propcorn so that we could see more features maybe developed on the Delegate platform? I can already hear Thibaut say, no, I like to do the development myself. But, that's
I would actually say that I want to put Propcorn into the Delegate platform so people can help us with fixing what we need to fix. So, guys, come on Polkadot fast.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
I would love to support that. So I guess with Joshua, Alberto, and Nikos, who's not here, but on the Propcorn team, we're now currently just shaping and scoping out what this next milestone looks like. I think there's a lot of ideas with Propcorn where we could take it. And I think our priority is just to make it useful. So I'm kind of telling the guys, like, hey, like, so once we launch, maybe I could help you with some analytics, like customer feedback, things like this. And really, really geared to launching this thing. And that applies to Delegate, except the Delegate, I think Delegate are going to be spending much more time with the Pappy team, because one of the things that's actually happening with Delegate, and I know this because I chatted with Joseph yesterday, is that because you guys are using Pappy, there's a lot of back and forth between you guys. And that makes me really happy, right? Because it means that as a result of this hackathon, we've got teams that are really kind of trying to push the innovation and break the status quo on what we already have.
Cool. And I think next week we might have some of the other participants of the blockchain symmetry hackathon with us. So stay tuned for that. It's not confirmed yet, but we're trying to make it happen. And I just want to say thanks to Sasha and the Webzero team for putting on this chain agnostic hackathon and getting builders from other ecosystems together, because we're not chain maxis here, right, guys? We just want Web3 to flourish. So thank you to the Webzero team, and thanks to everyone for joining today. Really nice to see your products. This was fun. Let's do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
And thanks
All
for
right,
hosting,
guys.
Evan. Cheers.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Yeah, take